Hello viewers, welcome to our program Unknown History. Up to now we have talked about many historian characters and unknown things. And today's program there will be three important personalities in the history. One of them is Abraham Lincoln, who was against any kind of slavery in USA. He was the most important president of United States a long time ago. He was born in Kentucky, 1809, on the 12th of February. And the second personality is a very important one, especially very important personality for Africa. His name was Malcolm Little, Malcolm X. And another person is Muhammad Ali Clay, Cassius Clay. His name was Cassius Clay, but he converted to Islam and he changed his name as Muhammad Ali. And we are going to talk about these three personalities today. And who was Abraham Lincoln? He was American politician, and he was the second child of Thomas Lincoln and Nancy Hanks. He was born in a farm in nearby Virginia, and he was against slavery, and this family also, his father Thomas also, he was against slavery, and he revealed his ideas, and that was wrong because a lot of slaves from Africa had been brought by vessels, and they were working in Virginia free of charge, and they were slaves, and they were unfortunately under the oppression of the Virginia state governance as well. And of course some whites like Mr. Thomas Lincoln, they were against this kind of ideology and also this kind of things. And when he revealed his ideas, of course, they were rejected by the church in Virginia, and they were persona non grata, and they were not accepted in the community of the parish. And unfortunately, they even couldn't go to the church those days. When Abraham Lincoln, about 7 years old, unfortunately his mother died, and he became like an orphan. And when any orphan person has got free minds, because the orphans, they don't have effects of the parents very much sometimes. They grow their own ideology and or their own vision freely. And Lincoln was grown up by his stepmother because when his father got married again, and his stepmother helped his lessons, and she always gave big support for Abraham Lincoln. And Abraham studied at the judicial school, and he became a lawyer, and then he entered politic life, and he was chosen in the United States as the president of United States, the first president against slavery, and he declared his opposite ideas against slavery. He was supported by many white people around New York because the north of United States, the white northeast of United States, the many whites supported Abraham Lincoln and his ideas against slavery. Unfortunately, his ideas was not accepted by the southern states of United States, and they were against Abraham Lincoln, and Abraham Lincoln had to start a fight against their slavery supporters mentality. And when the internal war in United States started, he stood tall, and he always supported the black people in the United States, and many whites northeast of United States also supported him during the war. And fortunately, this war was won by Abraham Lincoln, and the United States got the Union again in USA under the governance of Abraham Lincoln. And unfortunately, the southern racists, southern state racists, they were against, they didn't like Abraham Lincoln, and they hired a killer, and this killer unfortunately killed him in a theater, and Abraham Lincoln was shot by him. And today, Abraham Lincoln's picture is on the banknote of USA, $5 of banknotes, and also we can see his picture on 1 cent of United States money. Another personality after many years, Malcolm X, ending slavery in USA, but the discriminations went on USA. A very important person, Malcolm X. Who was he? What was his biggest disappointments of his life, and his regression as well? What changed him? We're going to talk mainly about Malcolm X, his life. He was born on the 19th of May in 1925 in Nebraska State, and his real name was Malcolm Little, but he took this name later on as X because of ideology of Nation of Islam. At the beginning, at the beginning of his life in the prison, he recognized, he knew Nation of Islam, and they gave him this surname. His father, Reverend Earl Little, he was Baptist, and he was thinking that someday the black people in the United States will take their all rights, and he believed all the black people will take all the rights, human rights in USA. And he gave his ideas to his son, and Malcolm Little also wanted to believe these things. And Malcolm Little, when he was young at the school, he was thinking and he was dreaming to be lawyer. And he was studying for this, and he had great ambition to be a lawyer. Unfortunately, his teacher was very disappointing person, and he said that Malcolm X never he's not going to be a lawyer because he's going to see some difficulties, and this is not a realistic dream, he explains. And Malcolm was very disappointed about this, and he stopped his education, and he never went back to school once again. And Malcolm X, when he was young, he entered several times of in some bands, street fights, and this kind of things, because he lost his hopes to have a good position in life. Unfortunately, he was taken to prison just because of the guilt, and then in the prison he met the group of Elijah Muhammad. His ideas affected him very much. The Nation of Islam today still the Nation of Islam has got supporters in the United States, but this kind of community has got some sick ideas, such as believing some racist ideologies, such as the black are the black people are much more valuable or above the whites, such as just like some whites believe that in the United States the white people are more important, and they are much more valuable, and the white are always at the top, they believed, and they didn't like the black. And the same reaction, same idea, but the reflection of this Sikh idea of the white people's racism also reflected on Nation of Islam, but the wrong Islamic ideology. Elijah Muhammad and his ideas were very welcome by Malcolm X those days, because Elijah Muhammad, the nationalism of black, and even the God can be a black God, and Muhammad the Prophet was black as well, and Malcolm X believed these things because of Elijah Muhammad's letters and also explanations. And Malcolm X had got very good ability of speaking, and he was learning very well. He started reading at the library of prison. He was always reading and learning, and the Elijah Muhammad has seen his ambition of learning this. As soon as he got out of the prison, and Malcolm X became of a very important personality of Nation of Islam, and he always started speaking against the white people. He defined white people as Satan and the devil, and his ideas were welcomed by also other black people, but some people didn't like his ideas, of course. In any case, just because of the black people's suffering in the history of United States, even some people joined his community, and a white woman who was blonde and blue-eyed came and said to Malcolm X a very important thing. She said that she wanted to be a Muslim and she wanted to work for the black people in his life. But Elijah Muhammad told him, "You are white and you can't be Muslim, and you have nothing to do for us," he said. But this kind of speech is not correct, because Islam accepts everyone, white or black. Anyway, what happened to Malcolm X and why he changed later on, why his ideas against Elijah Muhammad changed? It is because of Elijah Muhammad's sexual relation with 6 women in the community, and Malcolm X spoke to them one by one, and he learned that Muhammad Elijah had sexual intercourse with those 6 black women in the community, and he had very big disappointments about Elijah Muhammad, and he quit the Nation of Islam. And he started reading detailedly about Quran, and he decided to go to Mecca to see what the Islam is and what is the message of Islam. He wanted to understand the message of Islam around of Kaaba while turning with the millions of Muslims. And he went there. When he went to Kaaba, he understood very important thing, especially after eating together his dinner and lunch together with the Jerusalem's Mufti, Imam of Jerusalem. He was blonde and blue-eyed, and they sat on the sajjada, the carpet, praying carpet. They sat and they started talking. The Imam of Jerusalem, who was Muslim and blonde and blue-eyed Palestinian Muslim, he said he liked Abraham Lincoln's ideas, but he was against his ideas about anti-whiteist ideas. He warned him there are a lot of white Muslims turning around of Kaaba, and they are all friends for the black people. And Malcolm X had seen these things around of Kaaba, black, white, Asians, any nations were turning for the purpose of the will of Allah. And then he stopped every sort of nationalist ideas, and he understood any sort of nationalism, black nationalism or white nationalism or religious nationalism, are very dangerous for human being. And he stopped this ideology, and he started universal Islamic understanding by Quran. He read again, and he understood the Quran is giving universal brotherhood, sisterhood, and respecting each other, loving each other, just like Bible. And then he started learning the correct understanding of Islam. And as soon as he came back to United States, he changed his name as Malik al-Shahbaz. Haji Malik al-Shahbaz was his new name, but not very many people knew his name. And Malik al-Shahbaz brought him a new character. He was against any kind of fascism, any kind of nationalism, any kind of racism. His speech deeply changed. And he said, I'm not seeing the white people Satan anymore. They are equal with us. We are not above the whites, and they are not above us. And the message of universal message of Islam must cover the world, and Islam must be understood very well for everyone, he said. Of course, when he started speaking about universal message of Islam, he disturbed some people, and they planned to kill him. And his family and threatened by telephones, and some stones were thrown into his window. And he and his family really were under the big oppression and depression as well. But there was nothing to do, and he had two choices: to walk on the same way, warning people for universal message, brotherhood, equality, justice, morality, behaving each other on the universal values. He kept on saying these things. He never gave up his speech. And of course, this disturbed some people who were white side and also black side, because white side nationalists, they needed the black side nationalists to exist, and they planned to kill him. And unfortunately, he was killed with the 15 times shot, and he lost his life on the 21st of February 1965. As long as he was living in the United States, he had wonderful friendship with Muhammad Ali Clay. Muhammad Ali Clay, his name was Cassius Clay, and he had good friendship with Malcolm X. And Muhammad Ali Clay was also affected by Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam at the beginning. But Malik al-Shahbaz, when he came back from Mecca as Malik al-Shahbaz, and Muhammad Ali Clay also changed his ideology and about black or white, this kind of mentality. He stopped also believing the black people over top of the white people, or white people and black people are the same, and they have got souls, blood, their blood is the red same one. And Muhammad Ali Clay, when he spoke on TV screens, and he started speaking according to universal message of Quran until his death. He kept his Islamic vision very close to Malik al-Shahbaz. Malik al-Shahbaz funeral, 1,500 people joined, and his life and his ideology affected after his death also. Today in the United States there are a lot of black people and they know his life. His life was filmed also by filmmakers about 30 years ago, and many people watched it. If you haven't watched his film, which was made by Denzel Washington, it's a very good film. I recommend you to watch his life. Also, his life was written as autobiography by Alex Haley. Alex Haley's book, Malcolm X, is a wonderful book about his life. You can find his detailed life. And Alex Haley's another important book was Roots. The Roots is telling the story of the black people forced by the slave traders from Africa to United States. Generations to generations, you can read all the people suffering, and you will be very surprised. I kindly request you to read also another book, Bury My Heart into the Wounded Knee, which was written by Dee Brown. It's a very important book. It's the story of the Redskins of the United States and their endeavors to have human rights. And today, Redskins and the black people have got freedom in the United States, and if they have this, it is because of Malcolm X, Dee Brown, Muhammad Ali Clay, Abraham Lincoln, and we are very appreciated these people just because of what they did to the human being. That's all for this week. Thank you very much for being with us. I kindly request you to follow us, our social media addresses such as YouTube. You can find our videos. If you miss our programs, Unknown History or other programs, you can find in the, don't forget, Natural TV YouTube channel. You can follow us with our videos. You will enjoy it. Thank you very much for being with us. See you next week. Goodbye.